Imagine standing in the midst of chaos, setbacks piling up, storms of life raging around you, yet you remain calm and unshaken. What if you could face any challenge and not only endure, but thrive? This isn't a superhero fantasy. It's a mental strength anyone can develop. In fact, nearly 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor wrote in his journal every night to train his mind to stay strong under pressure. His name was Marcus Aurelius, and the philosophy he practiced, Stoicism, helped him keep composure through plagues, wars, and personal tragedies. In this video, you'll learn how to become mentally strong using Stoic wisdom and practical exercises so you can overcome anything life throws at you. We'll draw on powerful stories and quotes from Stoic masters like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, a former slave-turned-philosopher, and Seneca. You'll discover how to reprogram your mind, develop unshakable self-belief, turn negativity into strength, master your emotions, and build resilience from failure. By the end, you'll know how to align with a higher purpose, whether faith in God or a personal mission, to carry you through the toughest times. Get ready for actionable Stoic strategies and inspiring tales that prove, if you train your mind, you can overcome anything. Stay tuned, because this journey could change your life. Let's dive in. The philosophy of mental strength. What exactly is the Stoic approach to mental strength? At its core is a simple but life-changing principle. Focus on what you can control. Accept what you cannot. The Stoics observed that we don't control external events, not other people, not luck or nature, but we do control our own mind, our judgments, choices, and attitudes. As Epictetus, who endured years in slavery, taught his students, men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. In other words, it's not what happens to you that breaks you, it's how you interpret and respond to what happens. This insight is the foundation of mental resilience. Marcus Aurelius applied this daily. As a Roman emperor, he faced betrayal, illness, and constant warfare, yet he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, Marcus trained himself to see them as opportunities to practice virtue and grow stronger. If an army mutinied or a friend betrayed him, it was a chance to practice patience, forgiveness, or wisdom. This mindset that every challenge can fuel your growth is Stoic resilience in action. Seneca, a famous Stoic statesman, echoed this. He noted that adversity is essential for discovering our strength. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself, Seneca writes. Think about that. A life without challenges leaves us weak and untested, while facing challenges head-on shows us what we're capable of. Stoicism doesn't mean being emotionless or enjoying pain. It means welcoming challenges as training for your mind. Much like lifting weights trains your muscles. Just as hard labor strengthens the body, difficulties strengthen the mind. The Stoics actually sought out mild discomforts to build mental endurance, practicing poverty, fasting, or sleeping on the floor, so that when bigger trials came, they'd be prepared. Stoicism's philosophy of mental strength can be summed up in a few key ideas. Control your mindset, not the world. See obstacles as lessons, not failures, and hold yourself to a high standard, no matter what others do. As Marcus Aurelius said, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. You have the power to choose your response. That power, the power over your own mind, is your greatest strength. Now that we've explored the Stoic foundation, let's get practical. How do we reprogram our own minds to think like a Stoic and build unbreakable resilience day by day? Reprogram your mind. Mental strength begins with your thinking habits. To train your mind, the first step is to audit and adjust your thoughts. Essentially, reprogram how you interpret events. Start by catching yourself when a difficulty strikes. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Do you say, "This is the end, I can't handle this"? Stoicism teaches us to flip that script. When something goes wrong, pause and remind yourself, it's not the thing itself bothering me, but my opinion of it. This creates a mental gap where you can insert a new perspective. Try this Stoic exercise. Whenever you feel stressed or angry about an event, write down what happened and then write a different interpretation. For example, if you didn't get a job you wanted, your initial thought might be, I'm a failure, this is unfair. A Stoic reframe would be, one door closed, which means I'm meant for something else. How can I grow from this experience? By actively generating a new narrative, you take control of your story rather than being a victim of circumstance. Over time, this practice trains your brain to automatically seek the most empowering perspective. Epictetus used to tell his students that we are ultimately responsible for our own feelings. He said if we blame others for our problems, we haven't learned. If we blame ourselves, we're making progress. But if we blame no one, we're enlightened. The final stage is when you simply see events as events and focus on what you can do. Modern psychologists call this cognitive reframing. Stoics had it figured out long ago. Change your opinion, and you change how you feel. A rainstorm ruins your plans. You can curse the sky, or you can laugh, adjust, and maybe dance in the rain. The event doesn't change. You do. Another powerful Stoic mindset shift is practicing gratitude and negative visualization. It sounds paradoxical, but occasionally visualizing loss can build appreciation and resilience. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, would imagine losing things, not to be morbid, but so he never took them for granted and was prepared if change came. For instance, he'd reflect, my children and wife are mortal, they may not be here tomorrow. Rather than depressing him, this made him cherish his loved ones more deeply each day and carry on if fate intervened. It's like immunity for the mind. By facing your fears in imagination, you suffer less shock in reality. Reprogramming your mind with these Stoic techniques, reframing setbacks, choosing empowering thoughts and visualizing challenges, lays the mental groundwork. Now, on to developing the confidence and self-belief that keeps you strong and steady through any storm. Develop unshakable self-belief. True confidence isn't about bravado or blind optimism. It's a quiet inner trust that I can handle whatever comes. Stoicism builds this unshakable self-belief through discipline and self-awareness. The Stoics taught that by doing what is right and within your control consistently, you earn self-respect, and from self-respect arises confidence. As Marcus Aurelius advised, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. This wasn't about self-criticism, but about holding yourself to your own highest standard. When you regularly act according to your values, even when it's hard, you start to trust yourself. You know that even under pressure, you'll do the disciplined, correct thing. That trust is the essence of self-confidence. Think about it. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-belief. If you commit to waking up early and exercising and you follow through, you just prove to your subconscious, I do what I say. If you promise to study or work diligently for an hour and you do it, you reinforce the identity of a capable, self-directed person. On the other hand, every time we break a promise to ourselves, confidence erodes. The Stoics were big on integrity between one's principles and actions. Seneca said, prove your words by your deeds. By aligning what you say you value with what you do daily, you remove the inner conflict that undermines confidence. You begin to live in harmony with yourself, which radiates as calm self-assurance. Self-awareness also plays a role. Stoics constantly examined themselves. Seneca recommended each night, I review my day and measure myself. What bad habit have I cured today? What fault resisted? How am I better? This honest reflection means you know your strengths and weaknesses intimately. You're not blindsided by your own emotions or flaws because you've mapped them out. This self-knowledge breeds confidence. You've met yourself, so there's no fear of the unknown within. You can say, I know I tend to get anxious, but I have tools to manage it. or I know I've overcome tough times before, I can do it again. Thus, confidence through Stoicism is humble and grounded. It's knowing who you are, training yourself reliably, and therefore believing in your own capacity. When you develop this kind of inner belief, setbacks don't shatter you. You might bend, but you won't break. Next, let's see how Stoics turn even the worst negatives into sources of strength, a skill that truly sets the mentally strong apart. Turning negativity into strength. What if you could transform every negative experience into fuel for growth? Stoicism offers exactly this superpower. The motto could well be, turn the obstacle upside down and use it. When something bad happens, Stoics ask, how can this make me better? This isn't just positive thinking, it's alchemical. You take the pain, the loss, the failure, and you forge it into strength. Perhaps the most famous Stoic quote on this is from Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Consider the implications of that in your life. Lost your job? That's awful. But it also pushed you to finally start that business you always dreamt of, or to develop new skills. Heartbreak or betrayal? It hurts. And it teaches you resilience, boundaries, or deeper understanding of love. Illness or injury? It's certainly not desired, but maybe it forces you to slow down and appreciate life, or it strengthens your patience and courage. This isn't to say Stoics loved misfortune, but they refused to let misfortune go to waste. Every negative was an opportunity in disguise. A powerful symbol of this idea is the mythical phoenix, a bird that, when it dies in flames, is reborn from its own ashes, stronger and renewed. The Stoic approach to hardships is, be the phoenix. Let the flames of adversity burn away your fear and weakness, and re-emerge tougher and wiser. We see real-life phoenixes all around us. The athlete who uses a defeat as motivation to train harder and come back to win. The entrepreneur whose early businesses fail, giving them the insight to build a successful company later. Or even in history, nations rebuilding stronger after disasters. The key is perspective. Stoics deliberately remind themselves in tough times, this is forging me. Someday I will be grateful for this test. Adopting this attitude shifts you from victim to trainee of life. You start looking at negativity as part of your training montage. The gritty scenes where you struggle and sweat, knowing a triumphant moment comes later. Practical tip. Next time you face a setback, ask the Stoic question, how can I use this? Write down at least one benefit or lesson hidden in the situation. It might be hard to see at first, but dig deep. By doing this, you stop the cycle of rumination and pivot into problem-solving or learning mode. You can even take it a step further, as Seneca suggests. Anticipate challenges and mentally rehearse turning them to advantage. If you're embarking on a project, list what could go wrong and how you'd respond constructively. This way, when obstacles appear, you're almost eager. You've been expecting them, and you have a plan to judo flip them into something good. This mindset of turning negativity into strength means that nothing life throws at you is ever purely loss. You'll either succeed or learn. You either win or you build the strength to win later. That is a hallmark of the mentally strong. Like a fire that grows hotter when the wind blows, challenges only ignite their determination further. Emotional mastery. Life will test your emotions, fear, anger, despair, especially when things go wrong. Mental strength doesn't mean never feeling these, but it does mean not being controlled by them. Stoics were masters of emotional regulation centuries before modern psychology. They knew that an emotion itself is not bad, it's a natural human response. But if you let it drive the bus, it can crash you into a ditch. So the goal is to put yourself, not your emotions, in the driver's seat. How? Through awareness, reflection, and practiced composure. First, awareness. Stoics trained themselves to notice emotional surges as they happen. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, when you wake up, you will meet ungrateful, selfish, aggressive people. Don't be surprised or upset. It's part of life. By anticipating potential triggers, he was less likely to get caught off guard by anger or frustration. Similarly, Seneca observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Our fears magnify things. Being aware that our mind may blow things out of proportion helps calm the initial panic. The moment you feel anxiety swelling, a Stoic technique is to pause and name the emotion. I am feeling anxious, or this is anger arising. That small act activates the rational part of your brain. You become an observer of your emotion, not its slave. Next, reflection. Ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Emotions carry information. Fear might be pointing to something you value that's under threat. Anger often points to perceived injustice. A Stoic examines this calmly. Is the threat real or imagined? Is the injustice something I can fix or must accept? Epictetus taught that events themselves aren't good or bad. It's our judgments that make them so. If you can change your judgment, you can change the emotion. For example, stuck in traffic, you might feel anger. Your judgment is, this is terrible. These drivers are idiots ruining my day. A Stoic would challenge that. Is the traffic really ruining my day or just delaying me? Can I use this time productively? Listen to an audiobook, practice patience. By softening the judgment, the anger dissipates. Seneca beautifully said, how does it help? To make troubles heavier by bemoaning them. In essence, complaining or raging only adds weight to the burden. Finally, practiced composure. Stoics literally practiced keeping an even keel. One exercise was to deliberately expose themselves to minor irritations and not react. For instance, if someone spoke harshly to you, practice responding with kindness or silence instead of lashing back. Musonius Rufus, a Roman Stoic teacher, advised training in enduring insults as a boxer trains with sparring. Over time, your threshold for getting upset rises. Marcus Aurelius compared the mind to a fortress. He said, rule your mind, or it will rule you. And ruling your mind is like building mental walls. Each time you remain calm in a storm, those walls get thicker. One story. It said that Cato, a Stoic politician, once walked through the Roman Forum wearing unconventional clothing on purpose, just to practice brushing off people's laughter and judgment. He wanted to inoculate himself against needing others' approval, so that in the Senate he could stand for truth without fear of ridicule. That's emotional mastery, being guided by principle and reason, not by the emotional whims of the crowd or the moment. When you achieve this, people will notice your imperturbable presence. In crises, you'll be the one thinking clearly while others panic. As Seneca said, to bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. If you stay composed, the crisis loses its bite. Remember, anyone can freak out. It takes strength to stay steady. By practicing Stoic awareness and techniques, you'll gradually find that you control your emotions. They don't control you. Master self-discipline. Mental toughness and self-discipline are lifelong partners. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, and it's a muscle you can strengthen daily. The mentally strong have habituated certain routines and behaviors that keep them focused and resilient. Stoics were huge on daily disciplines as the backbone of a strong mind. So, how can we master self-discipline in our own lives, Stoic style? First, start your day with purpose. The way you begin your morning sets the tone. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius famously fought the morning bed. Marcus pep-talked himself out of the warm covers by saying, "You don't love yourself enough, or you'd love your nature too and what it demands of you." He meant that as a human he was made to work and contribute, not snooze away. He reminded himself that getting up and doing his duty was part of being alive and human. We can do something similar. Instead of hitting snooze, take a deep breath and recall your purpose for the day. It could be, I'm getting up to take care of my family, or to make progress on my goals. This mental alignment first thing in the morning is a discipline that fuels all others. Next, set and stick to simple routines. Discipline is really about consistency. Choose a few small actions that you will do every single day, no negotiation. It might be journaling each night, a very Stoic habit. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is basically his private journal, or a 10-minute morning walk, or reading a page of philosophy, or making your bed. These might sound trivial, but keeping daily rituals builds a sense of control and order. It's like strength training for your willpower. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Little daily habits put you in the master's seat of your life. When you say, "I'll do X," and you do it no matter what, you send your mind the message that you are in charge. A key Stoic discipline is also exerting self-control over impulses. That means sometimes deliberately saying no to yourself to strengthen your will. Seneca, for example, practiced moderation in food and comfort. He'd have days of plain meals and cold baths to train against luxury, making him soft. You don't have to become an ascetic, but try, say, not checking your phone for the first hour of the day, or giving up sweets for a week, or taking a cold shower occasionally. These little challenges are like weightlifting for your mind. They might be uncomfortable, but that's the point. Enduring discomfort in a controlled way makes you resilient when discomfort isn't by choice. If you can resist a donut you don't truly need, you're practicing for when you need to resist a bigger temptation or endure a hardship. Another helpful habit: reflect and plan each day. In the evening, do what Seneca did. Review your actions. What did I do well? What could I improve? Where did I slip? Not with harsh judgment, but with a craftsman's eye to get better. And in the morning or night before, plan your day around your priorities. Stoics believed in living intentionally according to one's values. If you value learning, schedule time to learn. If you value health, schedule that workout. Treat those commitments as sacred. Self-discipline grows when you consistently prioritize what matters most, rather than what's easy. Over time, you'll notice something profound. Those disciplines that were hard at first become almost automatic, a part of you. That's when your mind truly becomes a well-trained instrument, ready to perform under pressure. You've essentially domesticated your impulses and distractions. As one Stoic said, if you seek tranquility, do less. But do what's essential, and do it regularly. Mental strength is often hidden in those boring, repetitive tasks that build excellence. Embrace them, and you forge a will of steel. Building resilience through failure. Let's face it, failure is inevitable in life. Everyone, even the most successful people, face setbacks, rejections, and defeats. The difference is how you respond. Mentally strong people view failure not as the end, but as part of the path, sometimes the most informative part. The Stoics were very clear on this. Failure is a better teacher than success, if you have the courage to learn from it. They even had a concept of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils, where they'd imagine possible failures in advance, not to be pessimistic, but to demystify and defang failure. If you mentally rehearse that, okay, I might fail, and if I do, here's how I'll recover, then failure isn't this taboo, unthinkable thing. It becomes acceptable and navigable. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously said about his thousands of failed experiments for the light bulb, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is Stoic resilience, though Edison wasn't a Stoic per se, reframing failure as feedback. Closer to Stoic home, think of Epictetus. Born a slave, he suffered a crippling injury. His leg was broken by a cruel master. To most, that early life would seem like a failed lot, enslaved, disabled. But Epictetus turned it into one of the greatest success stories in philosophy. He said that despite being physically in chains, his mind was free. He did not let the failure of a normal free life embitter him. Instead, he focused on studying Stoic philosophy whenever he could. After he gained freedom, he established a philosophy school and taught from experience that outer failures or limitations cannot touch your inner will unless you let them. His teachings influenced Emperor Marcus and countless others. Epictetus literally used the failings and pains of his life as material to mold wisdom. Now, practically, how do we build resilience through our failures? First, by changing our attitude towards failure. See it as data, not drama. It's not a verdict on your worth, it's information about what didn't work. Ask, why did I fail? What can I learn? How can I adjust? Treat it like a scientist running an experiment. A failed experiment isn't a catastrophe, it's simply an unexpected result that teaches you something. If you launch a business and it flops, maybe you learned more in that year about markets and yourself than you would have in 10 years at a stable job. Write those lessons down. They are gold for your next venture. Second, emotionally allow yourself to feel disappointment, but put a hard time limit on pity. Give yourself maybe 24 hours to sulk or cry if you need to. Then, as a Stoic would, pick yourself back up and get back in the ring. Marcus Aurelius would say after a setback, press on as you have it in your power to do. Don't dwell too long on the past, refocus on what can be done now. Seneca had a wonderful perspective. He argued that setbacks reveal the true extent of our courage and resilience. You don't know what you're capable of until misfortune tests you. Even to live is an act of courage, he wrote, meaning that persisting each day, even when things aren't going your way, is itself a brave victory. And he famously said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. If you go to the gym and never push your muscles to failure, they don't grow. Likewise, if you never push your comfort zone, or if you crumble at every failure, your mental muscles don't develop. So Stoics almost welcomed failures in the sense of, here's a chance to get mentally stronger. Imagine adopting that mentality. After a failure, you say, good, something to improve. This will make the comeback story even better. It might feel odd at first, but it's effective. You bounce back faster, and each failure stings less than the last, because you've proven to yourself each time that you can rise again. Finally, remember that every success is built on a pile of failures. Knowing this helps you endure the rough patches. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter got picked up. Each rejection letter was a failure, but only temporarily. If you don't quit, is it really failure, or just one step in a longer journey? The Stoic hero is the one who keeps moving forward. As Seneca advised, press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Through failure, you learn, adapt, and grow resilient. So when failure comes, and it will, meet it with a firm handshake and a determined grin. It's not the end of your story. It's a plot twist that will make the climax even more triumphant. The role of faith and purpose. Mental strength isn't only built by individual mindset and habits, it's also profoundly fueled by your sense of purpose and, for many, faith in something greater. Stoicism, though a philosophy and not a religion, acknowledged a guiding intelligence in the universe. The Stoics spoke of Logos or Zeus and emphasized living in harmony with it. What does that mean for us? It means that having a why can bear almost any how. When you know why you must endure, sacrifice, or persist, you can handle so much more. Think of Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who survived concentration camps. He observed that prisoners who lost a sense of meaning would wither, while those who found meaning in suffering, say dreaming of reuniting with a loved one or a project they needed to complete, could endure unimaginable horrors. Frankl often quoted Nietzsche, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." This aligns with Stoic thought. Epictetus told his students to view life as a play where God, or fate, is the playwright, and we are actors with roles to play. Remember, he said, you are an actor in a play, determined by the author. If short, then short. If long, then long. If he wishes you to play the part of a beggar, play it well. Of a king, play it well. Your job is to play your given part well. The choice of part is not up to you. This is a profound call to faith and purpose. Faith that your life, with all its ups and downs, has meaning in a larger story, and purpose in that you have a duty to perform to the best of your ability. For you, faith might be religious, belief in God, trusting that trials happen for a divine reason, or it might be a secular faith in a cause or in your own mission. Either way, it's belief that your struggles serve a purpose beyond just random pain. When you align with that, resilience surges. A parent, for example, can endure sleepless nights and work multiple jobs if they frame it as, "I'm doing this to give my children a better life." That purpose pushes them beyond normal limits. A soldier might face combat with courage, driven by faith in protecting their home or comrades. Even something as personal as proving something to yourself can be a purpose. Maybe you endure and overcome so you can say, "I did not give up on myself." The key is to anchor to something bigger than momentary discomfort. Stoics also practiced gratitude to the higher order. Marcus often thanked the gods or nature for what befell him, even the difficult stuff, trusting it was part of the grand tapestry. He said, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This is an invitation to trust that maybe, just maybe, life knows what it's doing with you. Instead of resisting everything unpleasant, see if you can find a hint of okayness or destiny in it. At minimum, believing there is a purpose to this pain makes it easier to endure. Your mind shifts from resentment to a sort of resolve. This is the path I must walk for reasons I might not fully understand yet, but I trust I'm growing through it. If you have faith in God, lean into that. Remind yourself that you're never facing trials alone, that your higher power is with you, and perhaps even training you like a loving coach through hardships. If you're not religious, you can still have faith in your values and principles. For example, you might think, "I believe in honesty and kindness, and no matter how hard life gets, I will have faith in those ideals and live by them." That gives you a North Star when things get dark. Purpose and faith act like a powerful lighthouse during life's storms. They guide you and keep you off the rocks. Ask yourself, what is my purpose? What am I living for, fighting for? It could be your family, your community, your art, your personal growth, your faith. Once you identify it, consciously recall it when you're in pain or doubt. Say to yourself, "I will endure this for the sake of Gidley." Fill in that blank with your purpose. You'll be amazed how much more resilient and courageous you become. Your mind and spirit tap into deeper reserves because it's not just about you anymore. It's about that purpose, that mission, that faith. This was true for Stoic heroes, and it's true for us. When you align your life with a higher purpose, you gain access to a higher strength. You've just taken in a wealth of Stoic wisdom on becoming mentally strong, but knowledge alone isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The ancient Stoics became resilient not merely by reading or listening, but by practicing these principles every day. Now it's your turn. Imagine yourself 1 year from now having consistently applied what you learned today. You respond to setbacks with grit and grace. You carry yourself with calm confidence because you trust your mind and training. Stressful situations that used to rattle you now feel like manageable challenges. You've built routines that keep you focused, and you've perhaps even inspired people around you with your resilience. That vision can be your reality, starting with the steps we discussed. Reframe challenges as fuel for growth. Remember, what stands in the way becomes the way. Discipline your daily life with habits that strengthen your body, mind, and character. Small things every day lead to big strength. Master your emotions by observing them and choosing your response. Don't be the slave, be the master of your feelings. Learn from failure. Wear your scars as badges of experience. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. Nourish your purpose or faith so you have an anchor and a North Star when life's seas get rough. As you finish this video, I challenge you. Pick one Stoic exercise mentioned, maybe journaling each night, or the morning mindset check or a reframing technique, and do it for the next week. See what changes. Start training that mind of yours like a muscle, and tell us in the comments which practice you're going to adopt, or share a Stoic quote that resonated with you the most. Let's create a community conversation. We can all learn from each other's experiences in building resilience. Before you go, if you found value here, hit that like button. It helps more people discover this content. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring lessons on personal growth, mindset, and Stoic wisdom. We have more great videos coming that you won't want to miss. Remember, mental strength is not a talent, it's a skill. You are capable of training your mind and transforming your life. As Marcus Aurelius might say, the power to overcome any obstacle lies within your own mind. So start today. Become the rock in the torrent that the storm cannot move. Tough times will come, but now you know you are tougher. Stay strong, stay stoic, and until next time, thanks for watching.